Hey, good afternoon, friends. Today is Tuesday, July the 16th, 2024, and the time now is 5:17 p.m. So, if the election was to be held today, and I'm talking about the upcoming United States general election, the presidential election, if it was to be held today, it seems that there is no doubt that Donald Trump is going to win the election. I made a video or a program or a talk a couple of days ago in which I said that Donald Trump basically got about three major victories within a week. One being that he defeated Joe Biden during the debate, the presidential debate. He basically was granted presidential immunity, or the Supreme Court basically stated that Trump has presidential immunity. Now, I don't remember what the third victory that I state that Donald Trump got within 1 week. Okay, it just slipped my mind. But I'm going to add one more. And this was the assassination attempt, the failed assassination attempt. It seems as if the attempt basically sealed Joe Biden's fate. It seems as if Donald Trump has basically crossed the finish line. Basically, if you ask me, they should just go ahead and inaugurate Donald Trump. I am not God, but the way things seems, it seems as if even God himself cannot flip the election in no way, okay, for Joe Biden. It appears as if everything is over for Joe Biden and even for the Democrat, because right now they are stumbling. Right now, the Democrats are stumbling, okay, they are struggling because of the disaster that has befallen them for the past 2-3 weeks. Now, the failed assassination attempt has so many symbolism that I notice. Whether these symbolism were basically inserted in the platform as Donald Trump spoke, okay, in Pennsylvania, or those symbolisms or symbols were unintended. It is striking. But the timing of everything that happened, okay, because I have been reviewing the videos of the failed assassination, if you will. And I have noticed so many of these symbols, and I was able to come up with too many questions because there are lots of things that I have been observing, watching the videos that basically do not sit well with me. But in terms of the assassination attempt and the fact that it is rolling Donald Trump to the finish line, something appears to be very scary that I am experiencing is that it seems that the United States has basically backtracked or has returned to the days just after 9/11, when every Arab person were considered a terrorist and were mistreated or disrespected on American streets because of 9/11, and when every immigrants were treated with suspicion and people were afraid to even question the narrative. It seems that's what is happening in the United States. Since the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, people are not speaking. Places and among group of people who you would know, okay, who traditionally would have been critical of Donald Trump are not critical of Donald Trump, or they are afraid to speak, to say anything. The most you can get from people is political violence is bad, blah, blah, blah. But you are not seeing the sentiment of criticism that these people or group had basically rained down on Donald Trump over the past few years, or few months, or even few weeks. So people are afraid to speak or to be critical of Donald Trump. And it seems as if many are jumping on the bandwagon, okay? And many are basically voicing or expressing the fact that they are going to vote for Donald Trump in the upcoming election. And when you ask them, when you probe, okay, on the reason why, people are expressing sentiment strongly because of the failed assassination attempt. The failed assassination attempt basically generates some level of emotion, okay, for Donald Trump from various aspects of American society, including in communities and areas where people would have been much more critical of him and much more reserved to gravitate towards Donald Trump, okay, or around Donald Trump. So it is very striking. And because of that, and dealing with the fact that Joe Biden is frail and he is basically he is dysfunctional, Donald Trump is looking strong to the people, okay? And many of the people are people in areas that would have been highly critical of Donald Trump express the fact that he is old and that he is unproductive or that he is dysfunctional. They are not talking about who Trump was previously, okay, or who they've always believed Trump to be, or what they think Trump could do. But now it is that Joe Biden is dysfunctional or Joe Biden is useless. Some have even expressed the idea or the sentiment that Biden is allowing illegal immigrant into the country and giving them a whole lot of benefits that Americans do not have access to. So it is remarkable what is happening in the United States, okay, in terms of the changing of the narrative, okay, and the fact that the table has turned, and in this case, in Donald Trump's favor. So once again, I want to repeat the fact that there seem to be new Trumpers out there, okay? Many are basically jumping on what I would call the Trump wagon. They are jumping on the Trump wagon because not so much that Trump is offering any clear solution to their problem or to the country's problem other than just slogan. But because Joe Biden is old and basically is staggering because of his health issues, okay, Donald Trump basically appeared to be strong. And then with this assassination attempt, which is very suspicious, the timing and the things that Donald Trump did and the symbolism. One being that there are many, okay, of the eyewitnesses who basically thought that what they heard was firecrackers, okay, or fireworks. I am no expert, but I feel as if a gun was shot in the area and you are in close proximity to the gunshot, to the echo, perhaps it appears or it could be that you should be able to recognize that it is a gunshot from a fireworks. That's one possible thing out there. But also, when the shot was fired, the first shot and then the second shot, Trump basically touched his ear and then he ducked, he basically went down. The Secret Service personnel basically jumped on him to protect him. It is very interesting, as I said in the previous video or program or talk, when Trump finally got up, it was as if he was looking for the camera. He wanted that iconic shot to be taken for the world to basically be left with an iconic image of him demonstrating heroism, strength, and all the thing that a superhero could demonstrate. Okay, he was looking for the camera. He wanted to be seen. He wanted for his bloody face to be seen. Okay, and then he basically put his fist up like this, fight, fight, fight. But what is so interesting, the way he exposed himself, which for me didn't sit well. One being that if there is an assassination going on, you are sure that you just got shot at. That is not the way you behave. You do not go and expose yourself. Okay? Basically, if there is another shooter or assassin, what you are saying is, take me out. But also, prior to that, you could hear the Secret Service agents, okay, and the members of the police or SWAT team saying, shooter's down, the shooter is down. It basically prompted me to raise the question. Yes, that shooter is down. How sure are you that that was the only shooter, the one that was put down, was the only shooter that was down? Everything seems so perfect. Now I went back and looked at the video. The crowd on the stand behind Trump's podium did not behave, okay, or members of the crowd did not behave as if there was an active shooter, or as if something was happening, an assassination was happening, or that something that could lead to the death of the former president, now presidential candidate, or anybody, including they themselves, okay, could die. They did not behave with that possibility. They behaved as if the whole event was a movie set. So something is very suspicious. The timing, this thing happened right after Trump defeated Joe Biden in the debate. It happened right after the Supreme Court basically stated that Donald Trump does have presidential immunity. It happened about, about 3 to 4 months to the presidential election. That alone, just the timing of it, I do believe it is problematic for Joe Biden. I don't think they have any clear response for Donald Trump. Perhaps it seems as if not only that Donald Trump had been scoring lots of victories over the Democrats and Joe Biden, but this assassination attempt and the heroic picture, the image of strength and bravery that Donald Trump was able, okay, to cultivate for himself at that moment. He was the man of the moment. Donald Trump basically catalyzed well, okay, perfectly on the moment, okay. He took advantage of the moment. He basically inserted himself in the portraits, okay, of humanity's emotion or American people's emotion. Whether we are talking about those Americans who were the Trumpers and those who were the never Trumpers and those who never liked him or never cared for him. He managed to demonstrate strength, okay, in contrast to Joe Biden basically falling. So with this, it seems as if the election is over. Basically, what just needs to happen is, hey, just go ahead, people, and inaugurate Donald Trump for the next term. That's it. The way it seems as if Trump is never going to lose this election. And it seems as if the only way he could lose this election, unless there is a video out there of Donald Trump basically like fist fighting a 1-day-old baby, just beating the brakes out of the baby. And even if that video comes out, I do believe Trump supporters are going to say that the baby was the attacker. The baby basically was an evil baby trying to attack Donald Trump, and Donald Trump was only protecting himself and protecting America. So as of now, it doesn't seem as if Joe Biden, okay, and the Democrats, they do have any solution for Donald Trump, okay? It seems as if everything is over. Perhaps we may all be wrong, okay? Perhaps we are all wrong. Perhaps Joe Biden and the Democrats do have something under their sleeves. We don't know, but let's see. However, in terms of the symbolism, when I first saw a video on Sunday when it happened that evening, it was interesting that Donald Trump, when he was shot at, okay, was basically garnering the crowd's attention to look in the direction, okay, the other direction, towards where the bullet was supposed to have come from. And prior to that, and I do believe it is the same video, which I was looking for it today, I did not see it. He had been telling the people about the fact that, quote unquote, Joe Biden had been bringing illegal immigrants who are criminals and all that. And it prompted me to raise a question, okay? The fact that Donald Trump was calling immigrants criminal, and then he was shot at by a white American citizen. Once again, friends, I am going to repeat. I find it to be very ironic, the fact that Donald Trump had called or referred to immigrant, okay, or illegal immigrant as criminals, people who are dealing with mental issues, who are up to no good, okay? The fact that he had referred to immigrant as such, and then he was shot at or almost assassinated by an American, a white American citizen. It is striking. But one thing that I want to stress is the reaction from Americans, or many in America, is flawed. Now, rightly so, if this was indeed, okay, and people are saying different things out there. There are those who think this whole thing was staged, it was set up. There are those who think this was actually an assassination attempt, which, had it succeeded, whether it was a staged event or a real event, had it been succeeded, could have plunged the United States into a civil war or destabilization. However, as much as it is necessary as Americans to be very optimistic and happy that the situation didn't become what it could have become, as much as if you are a Trump supporter or not, or whether you are an American or not, okay, but you love stability and you crave stability, or the perception of stability and peace and unity and togetherness, okay, as much as it is necessary to wish Trump health and safety, I do believe it is also important that the American people consider the root cause of the sentiment that transpired on Sunday in Pennsylvania. Because as much as it is necessary to wish Trump health and safety and to establish emotional connection for him as the future president or not, it is also important and necessary and truthful that Donald Trump, and others like him, and others in the government, in the US government, federal or state or local, be held accountable. Because the truth here is, Donald Trump was one of the people who contributed strongly to the polarization in American society that basically culminates into a young man, the age of 20, nearly assassinating him. Since Donald Trump came to power, or even before he came to power, Donald Trump had said things, had done things, okay, had initiated things or hinted things that basically had aroused the consciousness or imagination of certain sector of Americans, okay, or of the American society. He has basically contributed to the polarization of the American society. He did not start it, but he contributed to it, as many like him and many who had served in government. Donald Trump had contributed to the idea of fake news and conspiracy theories that is being spilled out there or perceived out there or reassert out there. He made the phrase fake news popular, but for him, everything was a conspiracy. And all these guys, from Donald Trump to Judge Bush, they all contribute to American people's belief or perception of something being fake news. And even today, as this whole thing culminates, as more information continue to come out, there are those who are saying the event was a fake news. The event was staged or whatever. For me, it is very suspicious, okay? A lot of things doesn't sit well with me. One is that I find the Secret Service personnel at the event, honestly, they do not look intimidating. And I grew up knowing the whole idea of Secret Service agent being people who you don't want to mess with. You don't even want to look at them in the face. These guys are intimidating, even though they are in a business suit. But those guys do not look intimidating at all. And they look like novice in the job. And I do not mean it to insult them, being that I am looking at what they are doing from behind the screen of the TV or my computer screen or my cell phone screen. But things doesn't look right. Now, eyewitnesses are coming out saying that prior to the shooting, they saw a gunman up on the roof and they tried to alert the security, okay, or law enforcers or law enforcement officials. The question then that I would ask, what the heck were they doing? Why is it that they did not bring the shooter, okay, or the attempted shooter or assassin down at that very moment? Why they did not try to neutralize the situation or the attempted shooter at that moment? Why did they let it to unfold? This is why lots of Americans are expressing doubts that this thing was actually an assassination. Okay? Many are saying that it was planned. But I was able to draw similarity in terms of symbolism. The fact that a young white man managed to evade security and climb, okay? It is said that he basically went to Home Depot prior to the event and purchased a ladder. He climbed onto the roof of a building where he had the perfect shot, okay, of a presidential candidate to assassinate that candidate, who was also a former president. The fact that he was able to do that, and even after he was noticed, the people tried to alert the security personnel and they did nothing. It bears striking resemblance to what happened on January 6, 2021, when a mob of American citizens in DC basically trying to force their way into the congressional building to overturn the last presidential election of 2020. They basically refused to accept the fact that Donald Trump had lost the election. So many black people in America are expressing the belief that those people who stormed the congressional building on January 6th of 2021 to overturn the result of the election, the 2020 election, that had they been a group of black people or brown people, that there is no way that the group could have reached the grounds of the congressional complex, let alone entering the building, storming the building. And many in the black community in the United States, they've expressed and continue to express that this basically exemplifies white privilege. Group of white people angry about an election result. They grouped up, okay, in Washington, D.C. and stormed the congressional complex and stormed the congressional building, threatening officials. They got into it with the police, but for the most part, they succeed in storming the building. Blacks are saying, had the group been black people, it would have been a different outcome. You have the young man, a white man, age 20. He took his father's rifle, semi-automatic rifle. What is it? The AR-15, which is said, okay, to have been purchased illegally. His father is said to have purchased the rifle illegally. He went to Home Depot prior to the shooting and bought a ladder which he used to climb up onto the roof of the building, from which he had perfect aim, perfect sight of Donald Trump. And even prior to the shooting, he was discovered by people, and they say, look, there's a man in the roof trying to alert the officials, but nothing was done until the shooting had occurred. It is suspicious. Now, there are those who are saying that the government is behind this, okay? Quote unquote, many are saying the deep state, the government is behind this, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't think the government is behind this. Because the truth here is, if the government is behind this, then what the government is doing is basically making Donald Trump stronger and giving him ammunition to come after his enemies when he becomes president with a presidential immunity. I don't think the government is behind this, because if the government is behind this and you really want to get rid of Donald Trump, why are you going to use a 20-year-old kid who knows nothing when there are lots of professionals out there? So the whole idea that the government is part of this, I think, is senseless. There are those in the Trump camp, okay, the Trumpers, many of whom are basically blaming liberals and Democrats, okay, which is bad. There are those who are basically hailing Trump, okay? Some are saying that Trump, basically, he's a steel, he is strong, he's tough, he's an iron or whatever. One of my colleagues, okay, was telling me that somebody that lived close to him basically has a huge banner. One side or one part of the banner says, Jesus is my savior, and the other side or part says, Trump is my president. So it is very interesting. It is unique. It is a unique situation. But yeah, people are going all out. The same people who are saying, the same people who usually will criticize liberals and Democrats for being conspiracy theorists out there are the same people who are basically spreading conspiracies. So it is very interesting what is happening in the United States, but also what is happening in the United States exemplifies the reality that the United States is a divided country in one way or another. So I just want to stress that. But in terms of the gunman by the name of Matthew Crooks, or Matthew Crooks, however it is pronounced, it is said that this young man is a balanced young man in terms of what people are saying about him. Some are saying that he was a loner, he was kind of awkward. Others were saying like this kid was smart, okay? He did not bother anybody. I basically read an article in which one of his counselor, or his counselor, okay, his school counselor, was saying that this kid never bothered anybody. There has been no report of him by a teacher or anybody in school about him doing anything bad. So as much as others can say this guy was an awkward kid that every day or every time he's in a hunting uniform, there are those who are saying he was smart in class, he was easy to deal with, he never bothered anybody, he never caused trouble. There are those who said that he was bullied. Either way, it doesn't matter. The truth here is he did what he did, okay? And it is said in the media that the area of Pennsylvania where this thing occurred, people basically carry guns a lot. And the Matthew Crooks kid, it is said that the officials or the FBI discovered about a dozen guns and or munition or whatever. I'm not surprised. As much as you every day you're waking up to go after your business, there are those in America, in the United States, who believe that the country is about to explode, that Armageddon is coming, okay, tomorrow, that there is going to be a mass unrest tomorrow, and they are stockpiling weapons. There are people out there in the US and around the world who stockpile shoes and clothes, but there are those who stockpile guns and munition. So I am not surprised. The situation relating to the failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump basically posed lots of questions. It basically lead to doubt, the expression of doubt. It generate conspiracies and whole lots of things. But one thing that I do believe is significant to this situation is that it raises a couple of questions, okay, or raises a couple of topics. One pertains to gun control in the United States. Obviously, the shooter, who is a young man, he is a baby, okay? He graduated from high school 2 years ago, as they say, and he actually went to a community college where he just completed, actually, about 2 months ago or so, he completed an associate degree as an engineer or in engineering. However, let me go back. The issue basically raises the whole idea, or it raises questions on gun control. If you ask Donald Trump, if liberals or anybody in the United States bring the matter of gun control to Donald Trump, I am certain that he is going to kill any bill or kill any conversation about gun control. He is going to basically brush it off. The Republicans, the conservatives, those on the right or on the far right, they're against any attempt, any move to achieve gun control in the United States. But it is very interesting. They are against gun control, but then we are seeing endless and senseless killing in the United States. Many of the killings that have happened in the United States, it is said, okay, when all the information come out, that the shooter was either a loner, the shooter was sick mentally, the shooter had some kind of problem, and the shooter had access to an unlimited amount of guns and munition. Now, in terms of Matthew Crooks, he, as the information is coming out, is saying about him, he was never sick mentally. He never had any mental issues. He was good. Yes, he was an awkward guy, but he was very smart. But very interesting thing that I learned about him that is being brought out to the public. One being that he had tried to join his school's rifle club, and he did not make the team. And he actually joined an outside rifle club. So this then raises a question. Why is it that a school has a gun or a rifle club? Who or what the heck are you guys shooting? It is interesting to how much people have access to guns in the United States. This is one of the greatest contributors to gun violence in the United States. Not just the individuals who are going out there committing murder, but the access, the quick and easy access to guns. And I do believe it's one of America's biggest problem, one of America's biggest flaws. And I will end with this. In the United States, especially during election time, you always hear politicians saying this country is in that country, that dictator and this dictator. They are all here or all out here to get America or Americans. To that I say no. Nobody is America's problem. America's biggest problem or America's biggest enemy is itself or herself. The United States of America is the United States of America's biggest enemy. People have freedom and they're expressing their freedom. However, even when their freedom causes danger to themselves and to others, the don't care mentality by many Americans is a threat to the United States. We saw stuff like that even during COVID, when some Americans not only refuse to take the vaccine, but they even refuse to mask up in public or to socially distance themselves, even though other Americans were dying, and they refused. And that culminated into the United States, even though it is about, 4% of the world's population, managed to gobble up about 25 or so percent of the fatalities of COVID-19. And I'm saying this because the last time I checked, it was about 25% of the fatalities of COVID-19 was the United States, or the United States was responsible for that number. But it's very interesting, guys. I don't know what you think. I hope to hear what you think. But I want to stress before I leave you that the whole situation relating to, quote unquote, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump by the young man who was only 20 years old, Matthew Crooks, was suspicious. The timing was just too perfect for Donald Trump. It was just too perfect for the election. It was just too perfect for the time period. It was too perfect for the atmosphere. Gunshot went off. Spectators or attendees or attendant, however you want to say it, at the event, basically act as if they were at a picnic. They act as if they knew something was about to unfold. Everything just seems out of the ordinary and seems suspicious. That's all I'm going to say. But friends, I am going to end here. Thank you very much for being a member of the Echoing Voice community. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace.